AiPAS is a company that we've done a couple of reviews on in the past. We did one on their A2, which was a folding bike, and we were happy with that. We did one on a really nice city bike called a C2, which if you want to go back and look at either one of those videos, the C2 was the most recent one, and that was listed or titled the fastest bike for the least amount of money. And still to this day, for the price at time of filming, it was $700, and it did 28 miles per hour with me on it. I'm 6 foot and over 275 pounds, and I don't pedal. That was quick. Guess what? This one has potential to be even quicker, as it's got a bigger motor. It's also got bigger tires. This is the biggest one that they make. This is the M2.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
So when we were first contacted with AiPAS, I knew very little about them. And when we got the little folding one, the A2, everything about it seemed pretty decent. It wasn't very bad. It had good amount of grunt, and it wasn't very expensive either. And usually you don't see that. You either have one or the other. We've had some folding bikes that have been really inexpensive, but they didn't have much for power. That one was pretty good all the way around. So when they gave us the opportunity to check out the C2, I was kind of hem-haw about it, you know, all right, sure, I guess so. Why not? Let's take a look at it. It looked interesting. And I didn't have any idea of what that thing was going to be like. And man, I was very surprised by its performance. So when they contacted me about this M2, I jumped all over it. I mean, I didn't even hesitate even a little bit. The thing that I want to point out is on all three of the bikes, the installation was relatively easy. When I'm talking about the assembly, they have a tendency to put stuff together a little bit more than some of the other brands in the box. Now, when you get this, it's probably going to come from FedEx if you're in the US. I want you to pay particular attention of having your FedEx guy deliver it to where you need it to go. Now, our FedEx guy is pretty decent. We have two really decent guys, and they both know that if I get something like this, to go ahead and get it behind the fence here, back by the garage, because that's ultimately where it's going to go. If I didn't tell them that, they would probably attempt to put this on our front porch, which is, you know, probably 5 steps, a little landing, and then the porch itself, which I would have to negotiate back off again to get it to where it needs to go, which in this case is the garage. This is 92 pounds in the way that you see it right here. Not the bike, I'm talking about the box. Now the box, this is over 5 foot long, and it's 3 foot tall. So you're pretty substantial as far as size here. Definitely make sure that you get this delivered where you need it to be at. Out of the box, once this thing is assembled, you're talking still about a bike that's about 72 pounds, but that's pretty common for a big tire bike. So one of the things that I like to look at, and you'll know this from watching a lot of our videos, is how they package the bike. That has a tendency to tell me how well the bike may be put together overall. You know, there's sometimes that we've gotten these bikes sent to us, and scooters, and I'm to tell you that they've literally just put the bike in a box, a plain box, and then they just throw styrofoam, you know, broken pieces of styrofoam in there, which don't necessarily keep it safe. So you're going to see in here that they've got great packaging skills. Again, that definitely translates over into them caring about how the bike is received by their customers. Recycle all your styrofoam, but more importantly, I want to point out that they've got a lot of this installation already taken care of. When we get these bikes, it is like commonplace that we have to install the gooseneck here. Putting the handlebars on, you always got to do that. That saves them so much place, you know, the space, I should say, inside the box. Of course, you got to install the front fender and the front tire. Again, saving space. But They put the seat on, they put the rack on, they put the shifter guard on there that protects the shifter. The only thing you have to really do here is just, like I say, the tire, the fender, turn around the steering assembly and position it correctly, put on the handlebars. You're going to do the front headlight along with the front fender. That's all in one. And then the pedals. I mean, this one's really easy to put together. All I have to do is just bolt down the rear rack. It's already on there, but I just have to tighten the front two. And that's for the box, that's for the packaging. If this was secured in the front, this would be too tall. So what they did is they just leave a couple of the screws that are going to be used to hold the rack in place. And the tail light's already in place. I mean, all this stuff makes a difference. It's all wire tied on there. This is stuff that I normally have to do on other bikes that we've assembled. So let me go ahead and get this out before the weather breaks on us here. We may have some storms coming in, and I want to show you what it looks like and talk about the specs, because it's a really decent overall build, just based on what I've seen with a comparable model, which is the C2. They have a Bafang subset motor, and they have Samsung cells in the battery. So let's get this together and talk about those things, see how it performs. So what I like to do is go ahead and cut down the sides of the box. Be real careful when you're doing that you don't cut into anything important. Also, make sure that you have somebody that's available to steady the box. I mean, once you cut it, there's nothing holding it upright. That's why I'm standing here right now. And at this point, all you got to do is just pull off all the packaging. Again, recycle it. Cut off all the what we call wire ties or zip strips to go ahead, release the bike from all of its components that might be secured on there. But what I'm looking for is a box that's at the bottom there, and that's going to have all the accessories in it. And cut this open real quick. Again, don't cut anything you're not supposed to. I know one time I cut through, and I actually cut the tool kit bag on one of these bikes. So you have your pedals. These are a metal. They're not a plastic. Of course, there's a left and right. Make sure that you put those in correctly. A reflector. Believe it or not, reflectors do a better job at night showing a bike in the path of a car's headlights than the lights, the LED lights that are provided. This is standard on all of the bikes. I say the same thing, and that is invest in a really good aftermarket light for your handlebars and your tail light, especially if you're going to be riding on the road, because it's one of those things. A lot of these bikes have great headlights to see for you to ride, but not for other people to see you as you ride. So you want to buy something aftermarket to take care of that. Also included is a toolkit, and there'll be tools in here, wrenches and Allen wrenches, that's going to be helping you put the bike together. Pretty simple, straightforward there. And then something that is above and beyond, which I like, and that is a charger that is a 54.6 volt 3 amp charger. Those 3 amp chargers, you know what they are good for? Getting you back on the road again. Make sure you read through the manual for the charger. The charger has different characteristics compared to some of the other ones you may have used. So I'm very happy that it's a 3 amp. Again, you know, whenever you get into these better, bigger batteries, it makes it to where you can get back on the road sooner. And as always, a really good instruction manual. Now, as far as the assembly, you guys might be thinking, oh, I hope he shows the assembly. No, I'm not going to show the assembly, because they have on their website a really nice assembly video. So it's nice that they have that already put together for you. You just have to get online, grab your phone, and watch what they do and just follow along. So let me go ahead and get this together, but I wanted to show you these components. So we just barely beat the storms. You can see them off in the distance, but I forgot something. They also put the kickstands on. So the only thing you have to do is install the front bolts for the rack, starting to sprinkle a little here. Nothing to do with the kickstand, but then adjust your seat, which I still need to do that. Put on your handlebars. Make sure when you put your display on, you do have to bolt the display on, that you position this so not only that you can read it, you know, you can move this around, but there's a USB port here for you to charge your phone, which you'll probably be using with some sort of a phone mount over here. This is a 7-speed Shimano. It does have an adjustable front suspension with preload. Again, I'm going to talk about the lights briefly. This has a great headlight. Don't get me wrong, this headlight is stupendous. And you can see to ride in the dark. The thing is people just don't necessarily see you when their headlights are blaring. This does have a lockout. I've never had to use the lockout, and that keeps it from bouncing at all if you want to do that. I guess there will be situations for that. Again, the LED light in the back, I suggest you get some sort of auxiliary, because you can be seen, but it has to be dark. And I still think that there's better ways of doing it with aftermarket lights. The bike is beautiful. It is big. You're going to have to start off at a tall height to ride this. They're talking a rider of 5'7" to 6'5". And it's tall. Heidi could ride this, but she would be very pressed, and she's 5'4". It would be tough for her to do. It can handle up to 450 pounds, rider and cargo. So make sure that you realize that this is a beefy bike. It's an aluminum alloy frame, and the welds on this are very good. I really like what I see there. Make sure that you change your speed adjustment if you want to go a little bit faster, if you feel that way. If you're allowed to, you push the plus and minus button for a few seconds. It'll bring up a P setting. You'll push the power button until you get to P8. Once you get to P8, you push the plus button to change it from P32 or 32 to 100. Once you do that, push the power and the plus and minus button, and it will then shut it off, and it'll be stored, and that way it will go 28, which we'll do that. We'll go for a ride whenever it's a nicer day out. You'll see that on this video, but not at this time. Again, separate light button for the light, a little horn, a little loud. That's going to scare some riders. Again, this is a pedal assist. You do not have to pedal. If you want to pedal, it will assist you. If you don't want to pedal, it's just a twist throttle. Let me see if I can tilt this just the right way. Get that back tire off the ground. You can see I'm just going to twist the throttle here. 28 miles an hour. Now the nice thing about this setup is the motor is a subset, meaning it's kind of a spin-off of a Bafang. It's kind of made by Bafang. It's a 1500 peak watt, which, man, that gives you a lot of torque. If you're in pedal assist 1, that's 110 newton meter, which is a lot. Now, of course, when you have something that big, something that nice, you want it to be supported and powered by something pretty decent. And guess what? That's what this has. These have 21700 Samsung battery cells, which are better than the 18650 cells, or they have come in some tests to show that they're better. So the fact that it's Samsung, you got a little bit better of a quality for recovery and longevity as far as, you know, in between charges. I think the bike's beautiful. Of course, you have front and rear disc, and you have these big tires, these big flotation tires, which they're Chow Yangs. We've had Chow Yangs on plenty of bikes. I don't know, there's a lot to be said about something that is built at a pretty good quality, and you can get it really, relatively inexpensive. So talking about pricing on this, I want you to click the link that's in the description. That's going to take you to this bike or to their site. Go ahead and take a look. Now, again, we have the A2, which we did a review on. Go check that out. We had the C2, which we did a review on. Go check that out. And now, of course, this big M2. As far as assembly, this is one of the quickest and easiest. I'm very happy about that. And when we move forward with this ride, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised about how well it moves my big butt around. So after doing so many different reviews, and this is the third one on this brand alone, there's a few things that always stand out from each individual brand. This one, assembly was a little bit easier because, again, they had the rack already on there, the kickstand already on there, the
handlebar gooseneck already on there. It was just put together a little bit better as far as how it comes out of the box. The other thing that I noticed from the AiPAS brands, on all three of them, the A2, the C2, and this one here, the M2, they've got their controller set up pretty good, and I like the fact that they don't have a problem telling you in the manual how to unlock the speed to get the top speed, because a lot of us here in the US, we want the fastest speed we can get as we're out in traffic, and they're all big vehicles and they're all traveling fast, and we don't have a lot of bike lanes necessarily. So it's good that this one can jump up to, well, almost 28 miles an hour in this stretch, and again, I didn't pedal at all. This type of a bike just 3 years ago would have commanded $1,800 to $2,200. It does not have hydraulic brakes. I'm telling you, if you ride bikes in general, you're not going to notice that. It's one of those things that you have to really be in tune to feel that kind of thing. So overall, a good bike. A big person bike, sure, I would upgrade the seat as always. But yeah, I think this is a good starting point for somebody who wants to get into a fat tire and not spend a lot of money. The links are in the description. Make sure you click those links, and yeah, this is it.